Why are you getting nervous?
He's over here humping the table.
I'm getting hype. It's my hype pumps.
Jeez. This is so uncomfortable.
How's it so uncomfortable? Because
I'm next to him. You're across from him. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Council of Trolls. Today, we have our very first Trollbunal going on. I will be your host, Vinny the Villain. Alongside me today, we got some very special guests with us, you could say. To my right here, we got Slate.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Thanks for stopping by.
How you been, Slate?
Pretty good,
yeah,
man.
pretty good.
Yeah.
It's nice having you here. I appreciate you coming on through. And of course, we got Willy Shakes joining us.
Thank you.
How you been, Willy?
Hey, you know,
Yeah.
I'm excited to finally be on the set with Slate, the one and only.
Yeah.
You guys do the shoulder bump, man? I didn't get a shoulder bump.
I mean, I can come around.
It's okay.
You know what? To each their own, I'll say. All right, guys, so we're not fully through the first quarter of the year yet. We've had a lot of things going on. We're going to get into a few different subjects today on this Trollbunal, everybody. One of the things we'll talk about is the bad start that 2019 has had. We'll also go into a few of the layoffs that have occurred in the industry. We'll talk about this whole Battle Royale boom and where is it going to go in the future. And last, but certainly not least, we're going to talk about the condition of Gamestop and how much longer is it really going to last. But for starters, guys, let's start with the first quarter of the year. It's been a lot of disappointments for the most part. Now, we've had some success with Kingdom Hearts 3, we've had some success with Metro Exodus, but we look at some games that have dropped recently, some big games. You got Crackdown 3, you got Jump Force, you got Anthem, and you got Far Cry, all performing way below what one would have expected. Crackdown 3 sitting at a 60 Metacritic, Jump Force had a 58, Anthem at a 60, and Far Cry at a 72. It's pretty disappointing, right? It's pretty disheartening.
Yeah, man. It's like when you think about the games that are released and when they were announced, it's a deal with like the trailers and just the insurmountable hype that comes with them.
Right.
Like you promise the biggest worlds, the most customization, the this, the that. They're promising the world, over-promising. And at the end of the day, I feel like sometimes we have to remember they're just games.
Yeah, they're trying to sell this stuff to us, right? Yeah. They want us to be on board with these games. The really big standouts to me, in my opinion, was Anthem and Crackdown 3. So, Crackdown 3, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like the end of the Dominatrix era, right? I feel like this is the last game where the sort of chains that held Microsoft back previously.
Final chain is broken.
Exactly.
Unleash the beast.
Well, there's a couple things that Justin had said, and that was the hype factor. There's a lot of hype factor around these video games. One of them definitely being Far Cry, that definitely did better than most games out first quarter.
Yeah.
But the issue with that is it's still the same type of gameplay. It's still the same game as Far Cry 1. You can only add certain features to it. So that is one reason why that game did not earn my money. The other one, obviously Anthem being a big one, there was a lot of hype around that one.
A whole lot of hype.
The fact that it's something new that we're expecting, this should be the Destiny killer, and it's probably not going to be the Destiny killer at that point.
No, definitely not. Not from what I'm seeing or hearing. I mean, I haven't played it. I'm not going to play it. I'm really not going to waste my money with it. But BioWare's just really been dropping the ball.
Dude, like BioWare is dead from what we've known from Mass Effect 1 and 2, the beginning of 3. I haven't played 3, but I heard the ending wasn't satisfactory. And then you have Andromeda and
Andromeda.
Andromeda. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, Andromeda. And your mama!
I can't deal with you.
Yeah. Damn. I don't know. Like I like Mass Effect 3. It was okay. It was not Mass Effect 2.
That's why I don't want to play it. Because like Mass Effect 2 was just like the peak of storytelling for me.
Yeah, and Mass Effect 2 really hit it.
To play anything less, I'm going to be kind of disappointed.
So, besides those games, what about Jump Force and Crackdown?
Well, okay, so Jump Force, it looked like it was going to have a really large roster. And from that, I just thought, well, there goes the quality. Because, like, how much depth can you have with
45 characters?
Right,
Yeah.
Exactly.
In your guys' eyes, was it just another Dragon Ball Z or Fighter Z at that point?
Well, I watched, they had a tournament on Twitch, like a couple days before release. And me and Kendall were watching it. and we were watching, like, we were hyped to watch it. We were excited. We were like, oh, this is a tournament right now? Okay, let's go. We were very underwhelmed from what we saw. We both were like, we're definitely not hyped for this anymore. The gameplay is so choppy. It's just, I don't know. The mechanics aren't there.
Fair enough. I mean, it was something where I don't watch a whole lot of anime. Y'all know that. You got me into the Dragon Ball series, but there's a few things that I can really remember from that. So going into Jump Force, there was not just Dragon Ball Z characters. There was all kinds
of characters,
that I'm not familiar with.
Right.
So for me to be invested into that game, I'd have to know at least way more than just 2 or 3 characters on that roster. So to have, what do they have, like 30 something possibly, or close to that? Now, I imagine there's got to be.
I don't know exactly where it's at.
It's up there to have 3, or is it teams of 3 almost?
Yeah, teams of 3. Yeah.
So you got to have more than that. But that's the main reason why I wasn't really big into it. There was a lot of commercials for it, but they weren't nothing that got me. They didn't give me the wow factor is why I should get this game.
I think that wow factor was really just them combining all those characters, right? Because I know people who are a fan of anime who are still getting it just to be able to experience those sort of dynamics. Like, even though they know like the game really isn't going to deliver the way that they wanted it to, they're, they have that pull, and that's really all it's going to amount to. I'm thankful I didn't take the dive with it, because I mean, MK11 is where my money is going to be as far as a fighter is concerned. Jump Force, just wasn't feeling it. Far Cry, never really played Far Cry. I there was one I had played where it had like that dude in the pink suit. I don't know what number that was. I think that was 3, maybe.
Possibly.
I didn't enjoy Far Cry that much, so I don't know. I didn't have high expectations for this Far Cry, or I guess I really didn't care about it.
I think it was more of like, not an add-on, but not a completely new game.
Yeah.
It was like I don't know.
Like, it was like Uncharted Lost Legacy, pretty much. It was the equivalent, because I think the game dropped for $40. This is what it dropped for. So, I mean, maybe for what it is, maybe it didn't underperform.
But like, damn, they're cranking out those Far Cry games like every year.
Every year, yeah. It's
like,
becoming
let the damn thing breathe.
Yeah,
it's gonna turn into Assassin's Creed, man. Like,
I mean, it's kind of there. It's kind of there at this point,
like, Shoot.
Now, what about Crackdown 3? Now, I have never played a Crackdown, and so playing Crackdown 3, I'm new to it. There are a lot of features, but again, I did something that I never would do, and I went through a review before I even played the game, and that kind of just like took my mode out of playing the game. But I'm actually playing it. I do enjoy most of it. There are some. It definitely looks like the graphics are so like Xbox 360, maybe on that kind of graphic wise. I would say that's what it feels like to me. I definitely don't like the driving portion, but for a Crackdown game, it is fun. It does feel like there's a lot of freedom that I have while playing this. I can do all kinds of craziness, and so I think that's something that I do like, but I can see why a bunch of other people are not big fans of it right now. You still have the little tight-knit group that do like it. I'm just not fully finished with it, so I can't really give my opinion on how far, but just from the beginning standpoint, I can tell you what I don't like right off the bat.
So something.
Well, we're not gonna let Dick talk about Crackdown.
I gotta leave something. So this is really a general statement, but I feel like the theme I'm noticing with these 4 games is the people who are gonna enjoy it are just simply like fans of whatever that thing is, right? Far Cry fans, anime fans, Crackdown fans, and people who are a fan of the system that Anthem has. They're gonna enjoy it, They're gonna enjoy it. Crackdown, that was just doom. I feel like Crackdown had a cancer on it. Like, it had a tumor you just can't remove. Like, it's in the terminal state. Go for the radiation treatments and see how that does the chemo.
Wow.
And unfortunately, it just didn't work.
Have you played Crackdown 3 though?
Have you played Crackdown 1?
I played Crackdown 2.
That was arguably the worst one in the series.
Maybe I played
no clue.
of the first Crackdown, but I'm not
So
too
let
sure.
me just say, me and Adam, we've been playing Crackdown 3. I liked it. I've been liking it, like the boss fight.
Y'all been playing Crackdown 3 together?
No, not together, but like we were talking.
That's corny as hell. That's corny.
We're about to play together now that Adam plays it. We're like, come on. You don't have Xbox Live. That's what you meant. Anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways, I've been playing.
How much was the game? $2. That's how they sold it. Was this game is $2?
Hey, that's how much I spent on it.
Right.
So anyway, I don't know if I would spend 60. I would, knowing what I know now, it would be definitely hard for me to say no. I would really want it, so I probably would have gone ahead and gotten it because it is Crackdown 1, just sort of improved upon. It's more polished. It's like hectic. It's so much bigger. So many more weapons, and I think that's overlooked by the amount of hype Microsoft gave it.
Oh no, I don't know.
Sent it to its doom.
I don't know, man. Like when I saw the beginning of the game, I was like, this world looks so empty. And then I could tell just by the first 15-minute gameplay clip from IGN, the game was literally just auto aim and shoot, and hide behind this big block and auto aim and shoot, and that's essentially all it was. And the multiplayer.
Don't forget to jump. You can definitely jump.
Have you played the multiplayer yet?
I've not played the multiplayer, but I
heard
saw
the
video.
multiplayer was the worst part of it. Ironically enough, it's the worst part.
I did see a review on that, and that's why I'm like, why'd I watch the review?
Yeah.
I'd rather have my own opinion on it, but watching the review forced me to be like, okay, yeah, I can understand where this guy's coming from. The other thing with it is, again, like I've never played the other ones, so now playing this one, would I get a Crackdown 4 if the Crackdown 4 does come out? I'd probably lean on yes, just because like I know the story of what I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I don't know, are Crackdown 1 and 2 the same kind of story modes?
I never played 2. I heard 2 just wasn't good because it had like really like not a lot of time development and they just rushed it out.
Mm-hmm.
So is it still like a boss takes over the city, whatever?
I'm sure, yeah. They had zombies in it too, which I think put people off. Yeah, it was really
Zombies.
weird.
And in this one they have mechs, which
I mean, Max and like
they did the same thing Gears of War did. Oh, what new enemy type do we have? Just throwing some mechs.
He's being so disrespectful right now.
What a way to change the gameplay! Just throwing a mech that's.
Okay, not everybody can be God of War, Nick, and completely revamp their entire game.
You know why I appreciate you saying that?
Why?
It's because that's true. That's absolutely true.
Yeah,
Especially
Uncharted
Microsoft
did it
game.
for 5 games and still is the same cover-based shooter, but you're getting on Gears of War.
It's amazing. And
Gears of War is amazing.
Did you watch the first 15 minutes gameplay clip that IGN had done on Crackdown 3?
Yeah.
So one of the first things I think Ryan had said was, so it's not God of War, and it's like when you have to preface it with that, we know you're disappointed. Like when you have to put it like no shit, it's not God of War.
You're gonna have to censor yourself. Quack.
When Ryan is disappointed in it, I know it's fallen short, so I can't even say anything.
All right, but also, the quarter's not finished yet, so we still have some games coming out.
Yeah.
Do you think the quarter can?
So
recover?
let's see what's next month. I think Devil May Cry, Sekiro.
Yeah. Those are big hitters. Like, I mean, if those do really well,
I mean,
could low-key save everything.
We got Metro Exodus. We got Kingdom Hearts 3.
Metro Exodus.
You throw, assuming Sekiro does well, which I'm sure it is. It's a Japan studio
Resident
game.
Evil.
I'm sure it's going to do well. Resident Evil remake did well. That was very well received. Devil May Cry presumably will do well too. So when Q1 ends, I'm sure overall it's going to be a good one, a solid one.
Yeah.
But so far it's been really disappointing. We definitely have good reasons to believe that the upcoming games are really going to knock it out the park. But for right now, overall, been a pretty disappointing Q1 for sure.
So far, yeah, definitely.
I guess I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Because I've only pretty much out of quarter 1, I've only got the one game that's Crackdown. So
Yeah.
I guess yeah.
And you spent $2 on that. So
Do you have it on Game Pass?
I have it on Game Pass.
Okay.
So.
there we go.
Did I spend $2?
There's not a single person out there who bought that game for $60.
No, it's just
telling that right now.
Only true
Listen,
Crackdown
Nick.
fans.
Over 20 million of you have destroyed buildings in Crackdown 3.
A billion tons of rubble has come crashing down in Crackdown 3 thanks to players playing as long as they have. Yeah. All right, Phil. Appreciate those.
Don't
thoughts,
say
buddy.
Phil. Listen, man. Don't
I'm making the most out of nothing.
We're sorry, Phil. We just had to poke at it.
So overall, but let's say if you want to take a whole nother branch, was there any system that failed quarter one?
System? Oh, like game system?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like Microsoft's the only one who put out a demo.
Yeah.
So.
Oh,
What are you trying to do there?
I didn't mean to. I was just gonna see if you would have said something about Sony.
I would say Xbox really
Kingdom Hearts 3 did really good for us. Oh. No, that's on Xbox now.
Oh my gosh, that franchise has appeared on Nintendo's platforms before. So. Hey, but can you play the first two on the Xbox?
The last gen games?
Yeah, can you experience that on your Xbox with your backwards compatibility?
I don't think so.
Or the collection? Oh,
I can't
okay.
remember.
Oh, but you got the third one. Okay. All right, enjoy the YouTube videos recapping. Very well. All right, guys. So we're gonna get into some more bad news here, as far as some things that have been going down in the gaming industry. Slate, we've seen quite a bit of layoffs here. What's going on?
Major industry layoffs. Activision Blizzard. The CEO opens up their quarterly earnings with the quote, "We once again achieved record results in 2018. 800 people laid off from them.
I don't get it. So they had record earnings.
Record earnings.
And they laid off 800 people.
Ed Boon, our hero, he even tweeted. He said. He literally said this: "Great game, #1 selling console game this year, Black Ops 4, sold more than Black Ops 3, quote unquote, fell short of companies' expectations," is what EA or Activision said.
Huh.
That's incredible, man. Like, and that's coming from somebody who has his own studio and knows what to expect. With Mortal Kombat's not going to sell as much as Call of Duty, but I'm sure he's still operating within his means to where he doesn't have to lay off a bunch of people.
Yeah. Right.
I'm tired of like the industry just being extremely bloated with these giant studios, EA, Activision. Ubisoft has been they've been doing a lot better with the Division and all those things releasing. So I'm not gonna pick on them too much, but seriously, the CEO, Nintendo president, I should say, Iwata, back in 2014, he cut his pay in half. Because they didn't meet expectations.
Wow.
And that was during the Wii U time period.
So they didn't.
They lost money.
They didn't meet expectations, and he's like, you know what?
I'm gonna cut my pay in half, so I'm gonna keep my employees.
Yeah, I'm not gonna punish my employees for how this is.
I'm not gonna reward
Hey, good news, guys. We hit our budget, but I'm still letting you go.
And I'm getting a raise too. Our CFO, get out of here, man.
Why would they lay off so many? Do you think there was a lot of disorganization going on?
I think they have way too, I feel like gaming is literally inflating. The studios are inflating. Nobody is really taking into account what you really need, taking scope and time management seriously and budget seriously. It's just trying to be bigger, better, push more pixels, more open world, just to sell us on E3 and Anthem. Yeah. We saw how Anthem turned out. Yeah. You're just trying to sell a game that will change our lives instead of just selling us a game. And I feel like they're getting out of control with how big they really are.
I wish they gave more of what jobs they laid off. Be a little bit more specific than could they have just laid off some janitors? Probably not. That's probably not what they did. But they didn't really give any meaning of why they did it, who they did it to. So the other thing is, it is bloated, but also that's the thing, gaming is peaking so much more now. They're setting a bar higher and higher and higher, and I think with these big names, they're putting out games every year. Like you said, you have Call of Duty, you have other games that are coming out. You had, what's the one with Assassin's Creed? The other Far Cry. They're basically
franchises.
Giving yearly AAA games, and it's no different. Madden's another one. The sports games, they're all the same. But I think and you and I, we all talked about this earlier, is that they're trying to change a culture. So get rid of the old, bring in new, and maybe, because we don't know if they're bringing anybody back. Who knows, or if they're just getting rid of 800 jobs and saying this is what we're doing. That's my opinion. Is they're trying to change something. It's not going to happen immediately. It might take a year or two. And we also got to think, new generation of consoles are coming out possibly too. We already know PS5 whatever they want to name it. You can go up to 10. It's still going to be a Sony product.
PSX.
Yeah. Okay.
PSX.
Okay. PSV. Is that what you're going to call it?
PSV. No, that was the Vita. R.I.P. R.I.P. the Vita.
Hey, I can't remember my password.
So, they might bring people back on. I don't think they'll match the 800. I just feel like maybe, like you said, the games are raising the bar as far as the quality that they're getting out of it, and maybe these companies don't know exactly what a team needs to look like to pump out this many games of said quality, right?
Yeah.
And maybe they really overcompensated. Potentially, Activision looked into stuff and maybe they determined that there was a drop in quality, and maybe it's because they're not focusing as well due to the large group. Like, it really could have been for management reasons too. They're like, hey, this isn't feasible. We can't carry things on. And I'm not trying to justify it, to be honest, because in the face of with the new CEO getting that bonus or whatever
bonus,
it was,
new CFO getting all that money.
yeah, like that doesn't make it look good. And then when you're having record sales like you are, once again, it doesn't look good. Did they really provide any context?
No, they didn't. Like the Twitter world blew up. I feel like I didn't personally see any response, but if there was a response, if there wasn't a response, they should have responded with the amount of press it was receiving on their layoffs, and then how much they really made last year. They profited 1.8 billion in profit.
Wow.
In profit, like what's going on?
Why couldn't the new guy kind of sacrifice the millions that he got?
Dude.
And then when you consider what you said, billion
1.8 billion with the B.
Did they really have to let them go?
Dude, it's American economics. It's the CEO and the corporate. It's the corporate structure. That's why I'm not really liking that. I'm coming from a Microsoft fan, who's the mega corporate, corporation. But EA, Activision, Blizzard, Ubisoft. I can't remember if they're public or not. But anyways, I could go on and on about it, but.
But are you happy playing basically the same game year after year? I quit playing all the sports games because they're legitly the same. EA, I'm like, this is a joke every time.
Assassin's Creed, dude, I played the first one. I legit, this is probably me. I know a lot of people loved Assassin's Creed 1, but I was one time I fell asleep playing it, riding a horse when I had to go all the way to the other side of the map. But Assassin's Creed 1, and then you come out with Assassin's Creed 2, I buy that. And then Assassin's Creed 3, then Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
But 2 was good.
What are we up to? What number are we up to now?
I have no idea.
8 or 9?
Including the Vitas and all that stuff, all the PlayStation, my goodness. Probably they have a lot of games.
I heard they really turned things around with the Egyptian one that they had, and especially the one that just came out, Odyssey, taking place in the Greek world. People really liked it.
I know they did, but
really
it's
liked it.
still.
I'm just saying,
They even said they're not doing yearly now.
Right.
Yeah, they backed off of it. They finally backed off the pedal.
That's how it should be.
They're pumping the horse.
It's easy to want to do an annual because you're pretty much doing the same thing over and over, so your team can handle that workload. They just got to try to raise the bar a little bit more each and every time. Whether or not they succeeded that, that you just got to see. But
you also got to let the franchise breathe so new ideas can be birthed, such as Guerrilla Games. They were finally let go. They finally didn't have to do Killzone any longer, and you see what we got with Horizon Zero Dawn, a freaking masterpiece of a game. And now I'm sure they'll go back to Killzone after thinking about it long and hard.
Bring back that Killzone.
That Killzone 2, man. They'll go back to it, bro. I believe in it. So.
Another thing I think about is change at that point, the age gap. Now you're looking at people that are the age gap. I would say, let's say, 12 to what number you guys think? How 35 roughly. But
of gamers?
Yeah, of gamers roughly. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Obviously, there's going to be more than that. But let's just use that as a number. But let's think about when you had Sega, Nintendo, the Dreamcast, and all those consoles coming out. PlayStation 1, the Xbox. How old were those creators at that point in time? Were they in their 20s? Were they in their 30s?
Right.
Obviously,
A few decades have passed.
Yeah, so obviously a new wave is being created.
Yeah.
And so are they letting older people go and say, hey, I want someone younger that's in this generation, knows what...
Isn't that illegal?
Right. Firing
ageism?
people based
Yeah.
on
I mean,
age.
but they didn't tell us who, they didn't tell us what.
Right.
So, is it illegal?
Maybe.
Yes, it's completely illegal. But
Activision acting up, boy.
could that be something that they could be doing also? Just like let's get some new faces in here that are younger. They know what everyone's liking and stuff like that as well. So
I feel like to build off of that, like what the problem is too, they're trying to come up with new ways of monetizing games.
yeah, jeez.
With loot boxes outside of just releasing a full game with like DLC. I don't mind that. Like separate the two. You're buying the full meal, and let me just get the extras like the shakes and things like that on the side, and let me know that I'm getting the full meal though. Like don't sprinkle microtransactions throughout my stuff. That's like stuck behind a paywall after I dropped $60 on this. Like let me buy the extra when you release the extra.
Yeah, just give us like a complete product. We've seen issues like, no offense guys, but like with Sea of Thieves, we're given a $60 product here, and it's not a $60 product. And who knows, maybe they're like restructuring some stuff as far as like their business model goes with the games they're releasing, and who knows what the story is behind it, to be honest. We won't know until Activision says something, or if this group of fired employees says anything.
Well, I hope that happens.
Yeah.
They're talking about like unionization. I think Ryan from IGN was calling on it. Like it really needs to happen for game developers because this happens all the time.
Wow.
Like you build the game that makes the company millions, and then they lay you off.
Oh, that would be nice.
They need to unionize, man.
I forget what game it was, but someone did that on Reddit, and they had told everything about whatever it was. I forget what the story was, but I just remember this guy was calling them out and saying this isn't coming, and stuff like that. Basically, just putting them on blast, and I was like, wow. But hey, he was a dedicated person. He loved what he did, and then he got let go. So I can see his frustrations at that point. So I really do hope that somebody does that.
I'm sure someone is. Like,
and they have
someone's got to call them
families,
out.
man. Like I couldn't imagine being laid off personally.
You're talking 800 people. That's essentially 800 different families that just got an income taken out, and for seemingly no reason.
Yeah, man. Like
you got the profits, you got the new CFO
you got
or
the
whatever.
sales, man. Like,
so
were they warned in advance, you think, or is it just say, hey, come to my office?
I'm sure there have been rumblings, maybe.
Yeah.
Like I don't think anybody expected 800.
Is there was there a percentage given of how much of their workforce that is?
8%.
That's 8%. So they basically took away 10% of their workforce. Who knows? Hopefully there'll be more news on it. We can get a better idea of what's going on here because context is going to be very important, very key. So far, with the information we have, it's looking bad for Activision Blizzard. It really is. It's not looking in their favor.
With the whole Diablo fiasco
Oh
as
my
well.
gosh.
Like, burn it down. Bring it all down, man. Tear down these giant mega gaming corporations, man, and make them behave, man. Like, humble them.
So I feel like in the gaming industry, we actually have control. The fans do, right? Because
and we're passionate.
Exactly. We're a very passionate group. Like it's not like the same exact type of thing you find in the movie industry or music industry. I feel like this is a different kind of thing with this form of art.
You saw it with Microsoft.
When reviews drop, that's big because that will deter people from buying.
Yeah.
And that's why reviews are so important, in my opinion, because it holds them accountable.
Yeah.
That's what it does. It holds them accountable. If you guys release this game, coming from a guy here who didn't buy Crackdown because he read the reviews.
Because I paid for no.
So you paid
I paid for Game Pass.
He has Game Pass already. How you gonna take it away from him?
So you bought it for $10. Okay, cool. So you bought Crackdown for $10. Right on, bro. All right.
Along with a host of other 100+ games on Xbox.
You gonna play? I don't even want to get into this with you guys right now.
Are you still getting cost to change your gamer tag?
It does.
I don't care about my gamer tag, bro.
It does cost for us to change the game tag.
Yeah, but not
$10 a pop.
Uh-oh, Civil War going on here. Civil War going on over here.
He can't even change his gamer tag.
That's fine. I don't care.
It's in
Because
beta form or something.
all you lame mofos are on the Xbox anyways.
Hey, what does that mean to have gamer tag changing to be in beta form? What does that mean?
Do you code? Do you program? Because maybe you could explain it.
I'm trying to think about it, man. I'm trying to conceptualize.
Some man in Japan is just supposed to flick a switch and like, all right, there we go. Like,
no, he put a 3 instead of an E. That's messed up. No.
Battle Royale games, there's really been a huge boom with them. It kind of seems like a phase. There's one after the other. Each new one that comes out is better than the most recent one, and so on and so forth. Adam, like, what are you kind of accrediting this to? What?
Well, I mean, we gotta take this all the way back to the beginning.
Okay.
So let's break it down first.
Where are we at? What's the beginning? What's the first one here?
So, well, let's what is a battle royal? Do you know what a battle royal is? Do you know what a battle royal is?
Battle Royale.
I think so.
Royale.
Royale.
Yeah, put the
Okay. Isn't it when like 40 sweaty wrestlers get in one ring and throw each other over the ropes?
That's called a Royal Rumble. There's a difference.
30, sir.
Yeah.
That's 30. Okay.
30.
All right.
But basically, what it is survival of the fittest. So at the very beginning of the game, you're pretty much in a sandbox with no equipment, no supplies whatsoever, and then you loot, and then of course you try to shoot other opponents, ops as we like to call them.
Yeah.
And basically be the last one standing. So really, there were games before its time, before the boom that happened. Ark was a game that we put a lot of hours in. We never really got to that type of battle royal at that point. There's other games, DayZ. I remember you guys talking about.
I'm glad you said DayZ, man. That's what started it all, really.
I really believe that.
I remember DayZ early on and just people talking about it and everything.
And it wasn't even battle royale. It was just the idea of spawning in with nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I remember you guys talking about that a lot, and I was like, because at that point I didn't have a PC. So, but that was one game that I remember hearing a lot, but never played it. And then I watched videos, and that kind of put me in the idea of like, okay. But then all of a sudden you have certain games like PUBG, and then also Fortnite. These two games spawned such a big boom that we don't know when the bubble's going to burst. I do eventually think it will burst. When? I have no idea. But those games came out in 2016 up to 2018. They're still going. They're definitely still going strong. Now, there's also the question, is Fortnite better than PUBG? Then you got your Fortnite players saying, oh yeah, Fortnite's better than PUBG. PUBG players saying PUBG's way better than Fortnite. But then here, all of a sudden, we have games that normally are not alike either of these two games. You have Call of Duty bringing in Blackout. Yeah. You have Battlefield 5 coming out with their own version of it. So all these other games are like, okay, we need to do something to keep up with these two games. Now, they all of a sudden just came out with another one that is free, and it's called Apex Legends. I was watching it when it first came out on Twitch. It had 300,000 views, people viewing at one time. Fortnite had 100,000. That's 400,000 people following those two games at that point in time right
insane,
now. Yeah. No other game can do that unless there is a tournament going on. If there's a big tournament for that specific game, that's when you get into
Legends.
Exactly. Counter-Strike's another one.
Yeah, so Counter-Strike. Yeah,
big games that are big tournaments bring followings. Now, unless you're like a huge YouTuber or gamer, there are people like Ninja who bring that following too. So that's you might see one person in that stream that have like 9,000 out of the 100,000 at that point in time. But what is the specific reason as to why this phenomenon is basically happening? Okay. It's putting other games to like basically. That's where I think this whole people are firing. Companies are firing people. Is it because of those three games now are doing that to them?
So I could see that tying into it if this whole free-to-play model is kind of what's throwing them.
It's free to download for the most part. For most like Fortnite's free to download.
And
PUBG
Apex.
You have to pay. Apex is free.
But I mean, like when you look at the two big ones, which are Apex and Fortnite. Yeah. They're free to plays. They make all their money off of just microtransactions. Is what they're making, and they make a lot of money off of it as well. I think what's going to eventually happen here is this genre of gaming is going to get so flooded with so many different options that eventually there won't be really one huge one that stands out. Maybe, I mean, still be the popular one. Don't get me wrong, there's still going to be the popular one, but there's not going to be wave after wave after wave of new ones. It's going to be Apex 2, Fortnite 2, so on and so forth. You know, we kind of saw that happen just like with the first-person shooter genre in general. Halo 2 came out. Halo 2 was the stuff, right? However, as years progress, and you have more options within that genre, right? You have more options within that FPS genre. You know, Halo, yes, it's still popular, but it's not as popular as it once was.
I'm glad you mentioned the FPS craze, because there was
Yeah.
a time where it was everybody wanted to
Call
be
of Duty,
FPS.
like you, and you even have Medal of Honor
Yeah.
give a jab at coming back.
I played Medal of Honor, and I remember always Medal of Honor came out in October. Call of Duty came out in November, so I was already set for those 2 months.
And I don't remember if you remember like the Haze. It was like a shooter on PS3 way
That
back
was a
in the day.
PS3 exclusive.
And that was just like
shooter,
another
yeah.
shooter. Like people just
You know,
It was horrible. It was horrible.
Storm, yeah.
I heard it was horrible though.
Yeah, man. Like there was a craze with that, but
Yeah, so I think that's essentially what's going to happen, and unfortunately, in this day and age, it's about getting money when you can, when you have that window of opportunity to capitalize on it, and that's just how companies are working. But when you think of it, in my opinion, I feel like there are definitely damaging effects to it because you're kind of killing the genre.
Yeah.
You're kind of making it not as special as what it really could be.
Yeah.
Had there been like a relative handful of games that are like this, but instead, you know, Apex for me came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, a new battle royale, and a lot of people were talking up, and then, like you said, it was doing the numbers it was doing on Twitch. So I don't think maybe Apex is the apex of a battle royale, and maybe that's what's going to come to end at, because at this point it's going to be thinking about variety and what's setting them apart from one another. That's what I mean. That's how the genre is going to die off. Is at that point the differences you can make are going to be like really specifics. That it's going to be the diehards who are like trying to find their specific subgenre within this genre, you know, within a genre.
Yeah.
So I think they're killing it. It's going to become a niche genre.
I totally agree, man. And like you guys made awesome points. Like everything I've written down, pretty much. DayZ started all the craze, and it didn't even mean to. And then like you were saying, Nick, when you said it's coming in waves, everything comes in waves, really. Like it happens in media, it happens in entertainment. Like it's like stuff is gonna be trendy until it's beaten like a dead horse,
Right.
and then people move on to the next thing. Like we got like BF5 releasing this spring. You mentioned the release style of Apex and how it was released out of nowhere. Nobody saw it coming because they interviewed the developers of it, and they're like, "What we're gonna do? Like announce it at E3 2018, and then every media briefing it just gets bashed to death because it's free to play and has loot boxes." They had a point with that because that's exactly what would have happened.
Yeah.
Like it would have been people in the forums, in the comments, N4G, IGN. They would have been like, "Oh, free to play loot box, blah 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 blah." Another battle royale.
That's a good point.
They would have said that. So I really like how they just dropped the bomb and just this is what we got. This is what we've been working on. Like I hope games do that more.
I agree with you on that. Games definitely need to do that because being overhyped with the commercials can destroy your hopes when it comes to it. Fallout 76 is one. It's like, oh, this is gonna be amazing.
Well, it goes back to that hype level. You know, that's what these companies are supposed to do, and you got to be careful. You got to find something you can lean on to kind of help guide you through, because you're talking money, you're talking time here when it comes to playing these games.
Yep.
I think one of the reasons why Battle Royale does so well is because the concept is so cool. You're talking, you know, obviously it varies from Battle Royale to Battle Royale, but you're talking
100.
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
It's dope. Yeah,
exactly,
it's cool,
and the way it's applying the pressure and stuff to get you closer to a focal point
really
as the
cool.
time progresses. You know, it's definitely really cool. It's just you give us all these different options, and this genre is new. Like this genre hasn't been around that I think 2 years maybe? I don't know.
Like 2013, when DayZ came out, 2011, 2013, and then H1Z1 after that.
I forgot about H1Z1. That was another one.
Yeah.
Would you consider DayZ an actual battle royale? Because when we talk battle royale, like I get it, like you're randomly dropped somewhere and you don't have equipment, but a battle royale to me is you also have that shrinking.
It's not a battle royale. It's an RPG, like persistent RPG to the freaking core, but. H1Z1 was the one that built off of DayZ and really introduced the battle royale genre, if you will. Like that was basically the same kind of art design, art style, and then that was the shrinking. And then PUBG came around, did what they did but better with weapons and militarized and stuff like that. Then we get Apex, who just builds off even better with Fortnite, then Apex.
Yeah.
Just one-upping each other, which is good. We're getting better and better, but it's going to come to an end eventually.
Right. The other thing that I definitely believe, there's two extra reasons that we've kind of missed also. The celebrity endorsements, that's a huge one, especially with Fortnite.
They're really pushing
that mainstream, man. They want that mainstream audience.
You got Ninja hosting something for New Year's Eve. And that was like cringy as hell.
No, please do not.
It was like, all right, I need everyone to do this, please. Come on.
But you have that, and that's why, like I said earlier, you have Terry Crews and Ronda Rousey and MK, and then you got Crackdown, and so you have
money's getting involved.
Yes, exactly. So other games are trying to bring those endorsements. Hopefully, it pays off. And then the other thing is, we don't really think about this too much, is your time invested into that. So when we play story player games, basically, or story mode games, you'll see that could be 8+ hours or more. That's a little bit of time. Some people, they don't like, I don't want to go through the story.
Yeah, you just want to hop in and hop out.
Exactly, and that's where they're like, okay, I don't have to do like an upgrade system or anything like that. I don't have to do all these side missions to get to this Red Dead. I mean, that's a big story mode. I don't know how many. Did you guys?
I haven't played it in a while. Yeah, it was trudging along for me.
So my point on that is, games like that. You also have other games that are multiplayer like that. You have obviously Battlefield, Black Ops, that can get you in and out of multiplayer first-person shooters. Racing games are out there too, but I think that's where this one really, really takes advantage of everything. Like, okay, we know a lot of people do not like to have their time invested in a big story. Let's just get them in, get them out. So.
Well, there was kind of this, once again, a whole phase where everything was like multiplayer.
Yep.
Right, and that's what the emphasis was on. It still might have had a single player, but the emphasis has been on multiplayer. And this sort of unspoken agreement kind of within the industry that story modes are dead, single player is dead, like no one really wants that experience. Yeah, exactly. But then, for example, you see a company like Sony doing so well with the single players and stuff. It just go to show that.
And I respect the hell.
The market was getting flooded with multiplayer stuff, right? Yeah. So it was very homogenous, and so you had nothing that really stood out.
Homogenous. I like that word, man.
But anyways, yeah, it's just too similar. And so then the different things will stand out more, and that's just kind of the fluctuation of it. It's just fans of this, it's an adrenaline rush, right? Because they went from, okay, Fortnite's cool, and then, oh, this is Apex. Oh, wow, look at this, look at that.
Yeah.
So
another thing that I like to mention is when we play multiplayer games, how many players are we relying on our team? At least 5 or more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With these battle royale games, you can do it by yourself. You can be the lone wolf. You can have 2 duos.
You can be somebody who's never played online on a console before. Go to the store, buy an Xbox, log in, and just play 1 versus 100.
Yep.
You don't have to have any friends or anything like that.
And you don't have to worry about your teammates messing up at that point in time. You're only relying on yourself. And I think that's a big thing too, because a lot of people, there's nothing upsetting to me, but I live with it. If someone messes up on my team, I'm like, you could have had that, but it is what it is. I'll accept it.
Think about this with battle royales as well. Like if you're playing a game where maybe it's 5 versus 5 or what have you, right? You win, you get a sense of rush, right, from winning that. But in a battle royale, you are out of 100 people, you won.
Yeah, it's very sad. Like people post on Snapchat, like people. My cousin who I didn't even know games, he's like 30-something. Like he posted on Snapchat and was like, I just won battle royale. Like, wow.
Yeah,
he's going in.
It's a big feeling. So think about, like when I beat you guys in like Mortal Kombat, I think about that rush I get that I just smashed you. I just think about that times 100. And yeah.
So to end it, do we think it's going to end, and how soon?
Yeah, everything comes to an end.
I think Apex. So this is how it's going to work. So Apex is the pinnacle, so far. If another 1 or 2 drop afterwards that does not meet or exceed that, then it's gonna fade away.
I don't think they'll release it like Apex.
Right.
They'll try to hype it up, and after that,
it's.
But can I say one last thing?
Go ahead.
Can I throw a boomerang real quick around the world?
Okay.
Can I shoot my Steph Curry 3?
Hey, go ahead. He's like, who's Curry?
I know who Curry is.
So hear me out. Halo. Listen, you guys gotta listen. You guys gotta hear me out. Hear me out.
Battle Royale.
Nope, they already confirmed that they're not doing Battle Royale.
Okay.
So where I'm going with this, stay with me now. So we got Halo coming out in 2020, Xbox launch title, right? New engine. This was hyped to high heaven last year, right? The lifespan of Battle Royale games. Where do you see Fortnite in the end of 2020? Where do you see that on the popularity?
The only one that would bring followers would be Ninja at that point in time. Tfue, there's a couple other names out there. I mean,
I'm glad he brought up Ninja. Ninja's an old Halo pro. That's where he got his start at. So, what if Ninja, Fortnite's kind of declining. Halo's the new hype right now. If he jumps on that and Halo is a good game and successful and loyal to its old fan base, core fan base, and it's just very happy because coming out on PC too, he plays on PC. Halo might it might be 2001 all over again.
Oh my god.
It might be 07 all over again. It might be 04. I'm just saying. So thank you for letting me throw that boomerang
we'll see what
around the
happens
world.
there. Very, very possible. That's definitely very possible. All right, everybody. This is going to lead us into our last subject. This is a pretty big subject when you think about all the recent things that have happened with Blockbuster and with Toys R Us. We're talking about the inevitable closure of GameStop. Now, nothing major has happened recently to really indicate that GameStop is at the end of its lifespan anytime soon. But when you look at history, it's a reflection of what things to come. And GameStop is definitely following in the steps of Blockbuster and Toys R Us, which is that when you had access to stuff via the internet, what do these stores do to really kind of separate themselves from the pack? Like, what makes people want to go walk into your store instead of just ordering the stuff online? And GameStop, they're really not doing anything to help themselves out.
when was the last time you guys were both in a GameStop?
I was buying Christmas gifts, so
Yeah, I mean,
that's the only time I
bought
ever go.
I bought Kingdom Hearts 3 there, you know what I'm saying? But that's, I like to buy physical copies. Next gen I'll go straight digital.
Okay.
But I just like to buy physical. I mean, it made no difference to me if it was GameStop or Walmart, and that's my point.
Yeah.
There's nothing making me want to go there specifically. And
Except for like small niche items you need, like maybe
right. Exactly.
headset, but you just go to Amazon to get a headset.
Right. So, I think where they really would have need to be hitting this at the park is their service, but they don't have good service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people have this mentality, which I think is true, that it's usually pushy.
Oh yeah.
It's usually pushy.
Yeah. Salespeople, just nothing but sales, quotas.
Right.
The other thing we got to think about, which I know I've done before, is what they do bring to the table that a lot of other places, unless you went to some small like disc replay or something like that, is used games and systems. You can't get that stuff at Walmart or Best Buy.
They do have it at Best Buy.
They do have it at Best Buy.
They do have
Oh,
it used.
Oh, used, yeah.
They
Best
do
Buy
used
stepped
game.
up their game.
So that, it's been a while since I've only purchased digital since the next gen. It's
Yeah.
only I think maybe one or two, and they were gifts. So it wasn't me going into these stores, but ever since digital, I think that's going to be the big downfall.
Yeah.
They've already shut down stores, not a whole lot, but they're in that direction. That's the thing.
And I also think the reason we buy digital now is because like even looking past the benefits of backwards compatibility, the obvious ones. It's also an incentive for us to buy digital, so everything's backwards compatible now. So moving forward, in the Xbox, PS5 is even going to have it probably. you don't have a reason to buy physical anymore. Like, because if you buy digital, it's just going to come with you wherever the company goes.
Exactly, and when you look at a store like Disc Replay, for example, that has a niche market.
Yes.
You get old school stuff from there, and
I love Disc Replay.
you know it'll never peak to where like you see GameStop at.
Yeah,
it won't peak to that.
They shouldn't.
And they should.
That's probably why GameStop is failing.
Yeah, and I'm just really trying to think like, is it really fair to say that it's impossible for them to come back? Like, is there something like no one's just like really thinking of, or
There's no way. There's no way, and then you got to think also the convenience factor. If there's so many GameStops out there, what's closer? A Walmart, Best Buy, anywhere else besides that GameStop? Because there's only so many that I can think of. There's probably about 4 or 5 that are around us, but it's a good 15-minute drive where, you know, the digital, I can do it right there and it be right at my house. You know, like go to work, come back, and it's there. Don't have to worry about it.
So I think actually something that's kind of interesting that I just thought of is like, I will intentionally go to GameStop as opposed to like a Walmart or something like that, because literally it's just a game store.
Yeah.
I'm walking in there, my stuff's right here. I don't have to go all the way to that back corner or that back corner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it is, as minor as that sounds, it is more convenient in that sense. And I mean, if it really did come down to it, if you really needed the opinion of someone there and you had no one else to talk to on the side about this game or that game, okay, like that's pretty useful, but
that's not going to keep your company afloat.
It's not, because you got all these different personality types in that store. You don't know who's really about to bond with other people like that. I think they need to do something to where they actually have like an actual sense of community somehow. Like if they turn it where they have events. Like that's what I think would draw people. They have events. If they expand the exclusive items that they have access to, you know, maybe they emphasize that stuff more there. Obviously, they still have the gaming library, but they don't have to take up as much real estate within their stores for games. They could consolidate that, have more of an emphasis on these hot exclusive items, and like I said, have events.
The only thing they really had events for really was the midnight release games.
Yeah.
You know, that's about it. And those are always fun, but after a while, like, I can wait for it.
And yeah, that's something that I really wrote down about too, is like when you bring up what separates them, you need a reason to go back there besides just buying games. One, I think they need to, like, what's the opposite of expand? Like, come back, bring it back in.
Yeah, they just
contract. I don't know their company, like decrease, close stores, and really they need a soul. So when I say that, like, they need to be genuine. What we talk about this whole podcast, companies and gaming companies being genuine with the gaming community, because we're very particular. Like we're not stupid. And to do that, like to build off what you guys said. Like they need to have events. They need to like probably expand it, like to make it twice as big, 3 times as big at the store. Because one, it's a little aisle, and then they need to have like chill spots. This is all my opinion, but I think they need to have little areas you go in. They need to host more tournaments.
Yes.
And tournaments need to be a huge thing with them. It gets people in, like you just $5 to pay. Yeah, and yeah, man, just bring a soul to it. Like stop trying to just get our money. Like you're gonna fail if you keep trying to do that. So bring it in and rework.
Yeah, for sure. Like definitely they could have more of a social experience with it. You know, as much as I hate to say, close stores and, you know, lay off people pretty much, at the same time, you know, maybe by them saving money somehow and being able to improve the quality of the other stores to fit that sort of setting, you know, you could have a great thing going on.
You can probably build back up.
Think of it this way.
You have the right philosophy.
You have, like, you know, Magic the Gathering game, you know, card tournaments, like always going on at card stores, you know. Maybe you could try to facilitate to that group a bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, expanding
to comic
the quality
books and stuff like that, or like
exactly.
to card games and stuff.
Just cater to the nerd community.
Yeah.
And actually, like, expand your real estate and use it wisely. Have a social aspect to it.
Yeah.
Bare minimum where you have a good frequency of some type of tournaments, but maybe even other types of events. Who knows what those would be? Cosplay-esque events, I don't know, maybe like, you know, it just depends. Like, you could really do a lot with it.
You need to change what people think of when they say GameStop. Because what do you think of when people say GameStop or when you hear that word?
They're just trying to get you to pre-order.
Yeah, I think of
sign up for
those
this
skinny
membership.
little stores with all these posters everywhere.
And the big red sign. That's it.
Yeah.
The main thing I think about is just going into the mall. Like I like that experience when I'm at the mall. I'll stop in GameStop just to get that vibe because there's a bunch of people in there.
Yeah.
Normally when you go to a GameStop that's not connected to a mall or strip mall, there's like maybe one or two people in there, and it's a little weird. So.
Well, you know, hey, I would love to see GameStop, turn things around and actually make something of themselves because we could only benefit from that when you really think of it. Yeah. But, these corporations, they're not going to see this video. They're not going to hear this opinion, probably. And, they, what do we know, I guess, right?
They better reconnect before
they need to reconnect. They need to listen to grassroots stuff. Like, they really should.
Just go back to EB Games.
Yeah, go back to EB Games. Alright guys, this is bringing us to the very final segment of our Trollbunal. Today we're going to be doing Troll of the Day. I'm going to be the victim, so Willy and Slate brought a handful of pictures that they're going to use to apparently roast me, and I guess they're going to try and be funny with it. So we don't have any high-end technology, so basically these guys are going to be laying their phones at me one at a time, showing me whatever picture they want to get on me about, and we'll have that all posted for you guys to see and laugh at or whatever they're gonna do. So, all right, Willy,
I'll go ahead and start before I get to a picture. I know it might be a little tough to see on the camera. But this man, he took one for the team with this shirt. He landed on the wrinkle bomb for us. Look out, guys! It's a wrinkle bomb.
Boy, when was the last time you ironed that?
Hey, let me see what this looking like.
Boy, I'm custom dead, boy.
Why you on your shirt tucked in? About to go home eat some mac and cheese and hot sauce or something like that.
But anyways, so this man sent a Snapchat picture a couple of days ago in our group chat, and you guys remember Toy Story 2, the toy creator, the villain, the big guy, you'll see this picture and it looks just like him. Now, the third and final one that I have, if you look at his hair right now, you guys are probably like, wait, I've seen that haircut before. He is actually related to Johnny Cage and Cassie Cage. He's got the same haircut as Cassie Cage.
That's what's up. That's your sister, bro. That's cool. Do y'all do it together, or like, does she do yours? You do hers?
Boo. That's garbage.
Well, Nick, I mean, I really, I'm glad we chose you to roast first because, like, at first you'll get a little salty, but then we'll laugh about it later.
Okay.
First you're a little sour, You got a little attitude, it's alright. But then you're sweet, bro. Then you're really sweet.
He's a sour patch kid.
I don't know who that is. That don't look like me.
So let me tell y'all the evolution of Nick, okay? Sony fan, right, Adam? Since his Wii days.
Die hard.
Unfortunately.
Well, even before that, maybe. Nick, he liked to get his tummy rubbed on his 13th birthday. He's very excited there as a young little man. And then, probably puberty hits, what? Hit you pretty hard. So probably like a year later.
Check out the fresh G-Unit too. Let me just point that out. That was hardcore.
We got the bad boy, pencil stash days, which I really respect that, Nick. You got his hand going on. What is that? Is that the chain with the big Batman?
I was living in New York, bro. I was on the beach, man.
Why does he have the long Figaro necklace?
Dude, I was iced out, man.
Man, that thing goes down to your belly button.
And then we go to his most recent, stint and his most recent days, and we got the Chris Hansen. Let's talk about the underage girls, Nick. Let's talk about it.
My lawyer says I can't talk on this until the case is over.
You got some Girl Scout?
Come out and see over here. But finally, we see the true evolution of the Sony fanboy. His final form. Him, Nick, I know the fanboy searching for love and solitude, and your final form, you found both. I really respect you for that, man. And
This is when I was doing some house sitting over at Slate's here, and he forgot his dolls behind, so I had a little bit of a good time, I admit it.
Have you guys ever seen a grown man deep throat a banana? No. I'm sure to let you know something gets lost in the translation. But Vinny, the true treasure of our friendship, as you might have heard earlier, is someone I will always have to carry the One Ring to Mordor and escape Sauron's apocalyptic army.
Oh no!
You know, Nick, I got a couple angles on those back there. And then we got the gobstopper right there. So Nick, I really, I appreciate your friendship, man.
Oh my God.
You've been there for me, so.
No, all right. So look though, there's nothing linking my face to this foot, so we can't say definitively that this is my foot.
He's got hobbit feet and they got hair, and they are angry.
Can you zoom in?
Oh my God. Hey, I'm actually pretty impressed. My toenails were clipped that well, that big. Usually I let them bad boys go for about a month and a half or so.
You clipped them with the
chainsaw. Oh. All right. Was that it?
I mean, I brought
Was that it? That's all you brought? Guys? Well, guys, I guess that does it for my roast. Still standing pretty strong. Next time.
He's hurting on the inside.
Next time around, I'm pretty fearful for both of these guys here. We'll see what happens.
Bring it.
But we want to thank everyone for tuning in with us on the Council of Trolls. Please make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and keep an eye out for more content.
Thanks, y'all.
See you next time, guys.
Later.